Well, the Georgia Eagles, another Bulldog. They have just, this is literally Georgia. This is the University of Georgia defense right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I got to say, Mike Gill joining us again, host of Believe in Eagles, to react to this pick. I'm kind of stunned that this happened, that not only have they, over multiple drafts, acquired the best Georgia defensive players, but they did it again this year with Jalen Carter, with Nolan Smith. So this second pick with Nolan Smith, man, they're going to have so much chemistry, which is going to be scary. Mike, what do you think? We talked a little bit about this earlier, the possible options. What do you think of this pick?
I thought Nolan Smith was in play at 10 if they would have stayed at 10. The fact that Carter was there, they moved up one spot. They got a guy that they probably would have been thrilled with at 10 at number 30. The continuity is obviously there with all the Georgia guys, but how about the speed from Smith paired up with Hassan Reddick? And then the two guys they have in the middle, they draft Carter earlier. You got Jordan Davis last year, and now Nakobe Dean cleaning up, making all the tackles behind the two tackles, the speed from the outside. I don't know that this night could have gone much better. I know the last time I was on with you guys, I talked about don't be surprised if Gibbs went. Well, he went at 12, so that was off the board. Branch, the safety. I had no thought in my mind that Nolan Smith would be on the board when they went at number 30. The rich get richer tonight, man.
Without a doubt.
Joe, I'm just going to say this. I mean, he's the biggest freak on the board. Okay, when you run a 4.39, we saw what he's done at Georgia. The only question is, we've seen guys in the past. The only thing that I say about Nolan Smith, you saw when he was out at Georgia, the impact he had in the SEC. We saw the issues that Georgia had against LSU, and then we saw against Missouri and others. He's an impact player. He's got speed. He's a ridiculous athlete. The only thing for me is, like with any injury player, how did they react, right? Like that's the only question that you have on Nolan Smith. They might be the fastest defense in all of the NFL. I don't think that you can question that. They're big, they're physical. Eagles, Eagles, I think they won it, Joe. I do think, and I'm not saying this because, Mike, we've done 32 of these.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because you're in here. I think the Eagles have won the draft. And that's crazy because they just played for the Super Bowl. And the NFC is a little down with the quarterback you have to go through. So what an amazing draft that they just had.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind is, you talk about the speed this team has. Josh Sweat is another premier pass rusher on one side, double-digit sack guy last year. Hassan Reddick, 18.5 sacks last year. You're pairing Nolan Smith up with 4.3. He's faster, more explosive than both of those guys, and he gets to kind of pick Hassan Reddick's brain and kind of get the opportunity to learn from him. He could be a situational player, and the Eagles have done such a good job over the years with situational pass rushers. They pick their spots with these guys, so they like to rotate their linemen, and now their line gets a lot of depth and a lot more speed, quickness, power. Joey Porter was on the board at that spot. They could use a corner, not as a starter right now, but because Bradbury and Slay are on at the end of deals here, they're going to need somebody. So Porter was a guy I thought could have been in play there. There was a lot of guys who dropped and were on the board right in that 30 area that were pretty intriguing, but I think they picked the right guy.
Yeah, it's going to be scary, very scary. The NFC East is on notice. Mike, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll see, man. I'm frightened for the rest of this draft because I know that Howie Roseman is going to continue to run circles around people.
They said Saquon just hit the injury report.
and remember this, guys. The Eagles picked up that extra second, 66. They got 66 with that whole John Gannon thing. So now they have a little bit more ammunition because of that. So they have 62. And they have 66. So they either get two more players in the top 70 or they have the ammunition to move up and get a better one.
Good luck, everybody else.
What if they went Darnell Washington?
That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. Or Christopher Smith.
Right. Exactly. I was going to say, what about Smith?
I mean, at this point, just fire everybody at the Eagles and hire Kirby Smart. That's all I know.
We'll see what happens. Mike, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll be seeing what happens with this Eagles draft.
All right, guys.